All right, it's Tuesday, July 15th. I'm buying some SPY 630 puts here at 648. And this is on the 15-minute chart that's already moved, considerably lower from the open. And then I wanted to watch after kind of making this push down here what developed, and I see this kind of bar not giving any green, strong reversal to the upside. So I'm going, to buy puts down here, which I don't normally do, but this is a rare situation on the daily chart at major exhaustion risk that's made 3 pushes up to new highs and is now failing intraday. And generally, if you look at this whole area as a sideways trading range that failed to break out, then we should be heading to the low end of this range at this point, which is down below the 620 area. So we have to get through the midpoint of this whole. Let's just collectively look at all these bars as kind of a range, and we're right at the midpoint. If we continue a little lower, we're below the midpoint, and that kind of definitely confirms that the probability is we're heading to the bottom of the range to start, and seeing if even a deeper pullback occurs. Obviously on the weekly chart, while this technically might have been a 2 up, it looks like an inside bar to me that almost looks like a failure type of thing. Anytime, I've discussed many times, when I see inside bars, little pauses that try to break out and then fail, they come back through the other way, and there's gaps down here to fill. So this might be the start of this pullback that's developing, and that's why I want to be aggressive. And even though the market's down, buy some puts in here, expecting it to continue a little lower. This is a red day, so it might, even if we come up and get volatile, as long as we hold the midpoint of this first bar, I'm going to hold on to these and see what develops in here for the rest of the day. And can this really break down and end up with a red bar and project to the low end of the range to start, and maybe even a deeper pullback? There's a lot of, exhaustion risk up here if this thing wants to head lower and start taking out some stops. Even if it wants to eventually head higher, it almost seems to want to take out liquidity, the downside first, given this kind of price action. So that's why I'm being aggressive and buying some puts here. Normally, I'm looking for, either to buy the breakout of the first bar, which would have been nice in this case, even though it's a major gap up, or I look for the kind of an orderly pullback that wants to test the lows of the day. In this case, I see a little momentum, to the downside. I see the potential for it to really take out the midpoint of this whole range and work to the bottoms down here. So I'm going to be aggressive and buy the puts here, and just seeing price action that doesn't really want to turn green at the moment. Even if it does a little bit, a little later on, I'm comfortable with that, just watching it and seeing if it rolls over to the downside, maybe even adding to my position if I can get a classic signal where we get an orderly pullback and then a test of these lows. But for now, I see momentum, and I just see a situation where you can kind of hold on to this and expect lower prices in some form, whether it's right out of the gates here or whether even if it pauses a little bit further. But this price action to me doesn't look good in terms of trying to hang in there, trying to continue the uptrend at the moment. Although anything's possible, we'll find out by the end of the day. But I'm going to play, the failure here of this breakout to the upside that wants to at least move to the bottom of the range, and then we'll kind of go day by day and see how much lower it might want to head, to take out some of these targets that could unfold should it head lower.